Okay. Welcome to my channel, Netflix watchers, lovers of Amy Adams, booktube friends, people who've read Woman in the Window, people who just watched it on Netflix, all that, everybody, hello. Welcome to my channel. If you've never seen this channel before, I talk about books, I talk about some TV, I read a lot of different thrillers, I read a lot of different genres actually, and I watch some TV and talk about it. I talked about a couple of pop culture things too. Anyway, the point is today, you probably clicked in this video for one of two reasons. You just want to talk about it, which if you just want to talk about it in the comments, go off because I want to have like a spoilery comment section. But if you don't want spoilers, the first couple minutes of the video, I'm just going to talk about my overall feelings about the movie, The Woman in the Window, and compare it a little bit to the book, but not too much. The first thing I want to say is, can I recommend it? I don't know. It's hard for me to recommend. I feel like the biggest flaw of the book, not of the book, the biggest flaw of the movie compared to the book is, I know that they have to take things out for movies from novels to make it shorter and fit for time. But they took out so many things that were important to make the character more well-rounded and make you root for the character more. I feel like they just threw us into this plot and they threw us into her condition and they didn't give us a really full picture of her personality. And they made her so isolated, it was actually harder for us to root for her because in the novel, she has a physical therapist, and this is not a spoiler. In the novel, she has like a physical therapist who comes and talks to her, and they show more of her dynamic with the physical therapist, who's almost kind of like a friend, and not just, a physical therapist. So they, that helps you get, some closeness to the character when you see her having a relationship with someone else. It makes you root for her because this person who spends time with her roots for her and is trying to help her get over her agoraphobia and trying to encourage her and help her out of her issues. But in the movie, they really take away everything. They take away the progress that she makes. They take away the website that she works on in the book. These aren't spoilers because they don't use it in the movie. So she works on a website. Well, she doesn't work, but she goes into like a chat room because she's a psychologist, and she goes in there and it's like a chat room that's like a group therapy kind of deal where she goes in and she helps people and she talks about her own issues with the agoraphobia, and it's very humanizing in the book, and it's just not, they don't ever like make up for those things. They never replace it with anything. So they really kind of make her this isolated, not a cartoon, but she's kind of like a flimsier character in the movie where you're just like, okay, we get it. She's she's afraid of going outside. And it's like, that's her whole personality. She has more of a personality than that. She's obsessed with old movies. She has some wit in the book. She has a lot of depth when she's sharing and trying to help the people on the website, and it's just not there. So they don't make you root for her. They don't show progress of her agoraphobia, and as the plot unfolds, the way they portray the twist that I think is the best twist in this novel is handled really wonkily, but I don't want to spoil it. There's kind of two-ish twists in the novel, in the story, but I don't think either of them, the ending and who it ends up being in the end is kind of a twist, right? I didn't really care about that as much as I cared about the first twist that was another plot twist about something else. I didn't really like the way they handled it in the movie. I felt like it was so much more surprising in the book than in the movie, because in the movie, they don't hide the twist well. If that makes sense, I think that makes sense. Like, they don't hide the twist well, and the real reveal is done in such a way that kind of takes you out of it. whatever. So that's all the non-spoiler section. It's been like 5 minutes. Let's just talk about the spoilers now. So from now on, let's just get into the nitty freaking gritty, okay? Because you know I have a lot of opinions. If you are a subscriber, you know I have a lot of opinions about this. Okay, let's start with talking about the cast a little bit. So Amy Adams is in it. We love her. We love Amy. She does everything she needs to do. Like the character, the way they watered down the character from the book to the movie is so flimsy, but Amy Adams has the power to ground the character, but she can only do so much. She can only do what's in the script. So she just kind of like wanders around. She's very believable, like, because she's a good actress. She's very believable. But like the way that they do it in the novel is like she's so much more drunk. And I remember complaining about this when I reviewed the book because I was like, oh my God, she's so drunk all the time. But in the movie, it almost doesn't make sense why she's not believed. Like they don't put as big of an emphasis on like showing the bottles everywhere, showing her really drinking and hitting it hard. You know, like they don't put as much of an emphasis. Like the night when Jane Russell, who is actually Katie, when she comes and is talking to Amy Adams' character, Anna Fox, she is supposed to get so wasted that night with Anna Fox and have bottles everywhere, and it's supposed to like look like a mess. Like she was entertaining company and she never cleaned up. So then when she gets killed a couple days later and she never really cleaned up the house, it's supposed to be a bigger deal. But they just don't do it. And also in the novel, she starts to doubt her own memory because she got so fucked up drunk. Like, but she has no real reason to doubt herself. She didn't seem like she was that drunk. She seemed like she had a hangover, but you can get like medium drunk and still have a hangover, especially if you've been drinking a lot and you're dehydrated and you're not taking good care of yourself and you have pills, blah, blah, blah. So I feel like she should have been drunker. She wasn't drunk enough in the movie. She was too drunk for me in the book. But also I think that that's more realistic. Like people who drink too much and are not functioning alcoholics and just are really deep into their issues, they do overdo it too much. Like, so I think that it doesn't make sense. She should have been drinking more. And they, you know, it is too much for like a normal person. I don't know. Anyway, let's just set the scene a little bit. Her cat was cute. It was a Persian cat, which I don't remember being a Persian cat in the book, but that doesn't matter. As always, I'm jealous of her gorgeous house. Her house is, they don't do enough with it. It's so beautiful. It's a 3-story brownstone. I was like, oh my gosh, 3 stories and a huge basement. Anyway, the voice of her husband is Falcon, Anthony Mackie. And I was like surprised, you know, they added a little diversity and making her husband black. You know, they kind of like to do that nowadays. And they briefly mention how gentrified the backdrop of Harlem is getting. And I'm just like, okay, girl. So they don't add anything meaningful with these changes. They just add like set dressing, you know? And knowing who the villain is, we're in spoiler territory for book and movie. I never was satisfied with Ethan being the killer. I mean, not that I was dissatisfied really. I just thought that I didn't really care about his character. I didn't really care about that twist. I thought it was okay. I thought it made sense. I thought it was logical. I don't think it was implausible, but I thought that it wasn't that satisfying. It was fine. It's fine that Ethan's the killer. Not that I didn't care that much about him, but I kind of didn't. I almost kind of would have cared more about the Ethan character if he had like a little sister or something. Or like a little brother or something, or somebody more vulnerable. The fact that he was older kind of made me, and in the book they have him say that he works with like special ed kids, and that really, excuse me, and that really humanizes him and makes him more likable. You know, but in the movie, they just, again, everybody is so watered down. They really don't spend enough time developing the relationship between the boy and Anna. He's just there, and he's kind of seems kind of in danger, but I hate how the character is played. No offense to the actor, but he had this mush-mouthed, mealy-mouthed delivery, like, he was just not believable. It's almost like he was trying to play someone who was a little bit like, you know, more vulnerable than he was. Like, he was trying to play like someone who may have been special ed or something, but like really light. I don't know how to describe what I'm trying to say, but he wasn't, it was like, I don't know, it was too much. I didn't like his delivery. And when he got next to the cat, knowing that he's the killer, I was like, leave the kitty alone! Because in the novel, he like, I don't know if he breaks her leg, but he definitely hurts her leg. And like, she does limp a little bit, but like, anyone who's watched tons of cat videos knows that's not how cats limp. They clearly had something on the cat's paw, and he was just hiking his paw up, like, what's on my foot? Anyway, let's talk about the biggest differences between the book to the movie. The biggest one is my favorite twist, is that her family is dead. I think that that's the biggest twist to me of the novel, and it's much more impactful because we spend so much time in the emotional trenches with Anna as she's struggling from the agoraphobia and the alcoholism. Now, I did not, like, when I was reading the novel, I thought that she did something, but I didn't know that she like drove off. Of course, like, I didn't predict that she drove off a cliff in the novel. Right? Like, I knew that, I'm like, okay, she was drunk and he just didn't want to be around her when she was drinking so much, you know, and I don't know, and that's why they were separated. It kind of leads you on. And in the novel, they do a good job of making you think that these are like phone calls or something. You can get away with it. It was easy. It's easier to portray in a novel. In the movie, they don't come up with like a creative solution. They just have voiceovers happening. And you can assume it's a phone call, but like, they don't, I think that they needed to lead you astray a little bit. And, you know, one thing that people do when someone passes away is they'll still call their old phone number and they'll get a voicemail and they'll leave voicemails and stuff. So I think that they should have had her like leave a voicemail when she was feeling really down and really frantic. And that would have, to me, led the audience in the wrong direction a little more on that twist. So she could have been, you know, like, really people would have thought that the voiceover situation was supposed to represent a real phone call. They should have had her have a real phone call. But they never did. It was only like a year after the family passed away. So she could, you know, she could have kept the phone line open, not necessarily changed everything right away. You know, like, the phone company doesn't call you and ask, hey, are you dead? You know, like, they don't ask. So if she kept paying the bill, she could have kept calling the number just to hear his voice on the voicemail. And that could have added that layer better, but they don't. So it's like, when you're watching the movie, you could have easily guessed, like, why don't we ever see them? Why don't they show them on the phone? She's just walking around and there's a voiceover playing. Like, you could have guessed that, I think, a little bit more than you could have guessed it in the book. I don't know. And then the big reveal is when everyone is confronting her. The scene is so clunkily written. Everyone is just standing around, and Anna's just having her little moment, and Amy Adams is playing it. She's playing it a little big, but like, she's playing it like she's on a stage play. You know, like, it's like she's delivering a monologue. She's like, you have a charge against you in Massachusetts, and you slapped your son, and you're not the real Jane Russell. I know what's going on. There's a boy being hurt. I'm not crazy. No matter what you think of me, you have to believe. I'm like, like, her delivery was so like la, la, la. It was such a like play performance. It was so over the top. I was like, oh no. I was so sad. I was like watching it. I'm like, oh no, this is embarrassing. It's like it wasn't good. Like if you set Amy Adams up bad like that, she couldn't do anything with that. Like, and that's on the director. Like, he directed her to portray it like that. The thing that I thought was cool about that moment is they show, like, speaking of being in a play, so everything goes dark, like she set her stage on a play, and it's just a spotlight on her. Then the lights come back up, and the crashed car, they made it seem like the crashed car from her car crash is in her living room, and the snow is falling down. I was like, ooh, I did like that. I did like that. I did like the visual of that. I think that was really cool. I think that was a cool shot. One visual I did not like is when the fake Jane Russell is getting murdered, and there's like a blood splatter effect, and she feels like she's hallucinating. I'm just like, it looks fake. It looks cheap and weird. I was like, oh no. Oh no. And I said this, and they don't establish her agoraphobia well enough. They don't give her, in the book, she's working on things. She's working on trying to go outside. She's working on using the umbrella. And she's working on just stepping out onto her porch and stepping out into the garden and stuff like that. But in the movie, they don't give her time to do that kind of stuff. You know? And early on, they don't establish that she uses the big camera. She just uses it to spy on them. But apparently she was using it to look at everybody. They also don't set up the cheeky little part where she saw the wife of someone across the street cheating on the husband. I mean, they could have easily showed that part. That was like the opening scene, and it was kind of like, ooh, it kind of pulled you in. And you almost kind of thought that the wife cheating was going to be a part of the story, but it's not. But even so, that was an interesting thing. I liked that. And then like when she went outside and she almost got hit by a car, I'm like, was that in the book? I don't remember that. No physical therapy, ? I already said that. The blood splatter looked cheap and goofy. They don't make the mental tricks work as well. Right. She, like I said already, she at one point even thought she was so delusional that she thought that she had imagined Jane until she saw the picture. She never goes to the coffee shop. See, like the coffee shop was like a step for her because the coffee shop was really close. So she just had to make it out of her house, go around the corner with the umbrella, and like that, you know, was like a huge step for her. It was like a huge turning point in the novel when she was trying to confront the real Jane Russell, whatever. And then now, okay, that's the whole review basically. But now, let's just talk about some random things I was thinking while I was watching this. John Walker. So the guy that plays her tenant is John Walker, another person from Marvel. I forget what his name is. But he plays the unpopular Captain America on the new Falcon show. And I just do not like this guy. I don't like his looks. There's something about him that bothers me, you know? And I think that maybe he was well cast here because he's supposed to be kind of like the red herring suspect of like, he was supposed to be maybe, you know, if it wasn't the dad, it could have been the tenant, but it was really Ethan, whatever. Why is her phone footage so grainy? I was literally watching and I was like, Jesus, I hope that's not what my phone footage is about to look like. It's so grainy. Like it's like she has on one of those vintage effects from like Instagram or something. Like, what's going on? I want to watch her movie list. Okay, she has a movie list of everything that she watches in this novel, and I might like link it down below if I remember. I will try. If I don't link it, just comment and ask. Because I have like there was a list that I found that some blogger did. I want to like push that girl's blog instead of, there's like all of these like professional lists now that the movie is coming out. I'm like, no, the girl made a blog and I want to support her blog. So I'm going to try to find the original link to her blog. The sketch, okay, this is like a tiny detail. The sketch that the fake Jane Russell does is like so goofy. I was imagining like, you know, she's like a creative person, like, and it's something that it kind of endeared me to the fake Jane Russell, is that, like, I thought she was, like, I don't know, a tortured artist, a lost, misunderstood artist who struggled with addiction. I don't know, but her sketch was so goofy and like it looked like a doodle. It didn't look like a sketch. Like, to me, there's a difference between a doodle and a sketch. Y'all know what I'm saying. Like, it was just funny. And then everyone, I already said this in the trailer reaction. Everyone looks 10 years older than I imagined them in the book. Everyone looks old. Ethan does not look like a high schooler. Ethan looks 20 years old. The actor playing him probably is 20, but I don't care about that. He's not supposed to look 20. I mean, that's like, Timothy Chalamet looks younger than the actor in this, and I'm pretty sure Timothy Chalamet just like turned 24, 25 last year. Like, he looks way too damn old. That's just my opinion. Oh, and if you liked some of her outfits that she had on in this, she was kind of serving the wealthy, disheveled look. If you liked that, I know that she had like a big, long, oversized blue blouse, and that is on Amazon. It's only like $40 or something like that, or $80. I don't remember. Something that was like kind of mid-range, not too expensive. And if you want one of those, and I know that those long flowing nightgowns are also on Amazon. If you want to serve wealthy, disheveled realness like Amy Adams in this movie, which I'm pretty sure you're like, no, we don't. I almost put on a bathrobe to film this and was like, no, I don't think so. Okay, if you made it all the way to the end, is there a camera emoji? Put maybe looking eyes emoji, like you're watching. Or a camera, whichever one. You probably aren't here, but okay. Bye. Thank you for watching. Tell me what you think down below of this movie. Okay, bye.